what's up everyone? Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye here. We finally have more specs about the Nikon D850. So I really just wanted to have a discussion about this stuff until things become fully official. I think we have a good solid list of things right here, and I just want to have more of a conversation about it. There were a ton of people clickbaiting this for the past couple weeks, even before the announcement of stuff that they know when there was nothing out there. But we have some leak stuff there, some stuff that I think is a little bit more solid, and that's why I'm a little bit more comfortable to talk about it. So let's just dive into what it could be, and then when it's fully official, we'll definitely tackle it. But what are we expecting for this D850 from kind of what we know right now? So as you saw, Nikon teased their D850 and the other week they said they're developing it. That was their big 100th year announcement. It's kind of a joke. And the only other thing you saw in their trailer was that it did 8K time-lapse video. So you had some people going extreme and saying, well, they're not even just doing 4K, they're doing 8K. And unfortunately, those people just don't understand how that works and how many megapixels and everything goes into all that stuff. But, you know, long bit aside, we're looking at something that's going to be either a 45 or a 46 megapixel full frame camera in this D850. Essentially, it's going to be a mini D5 from everything that's going into it. And it basically has the guts of a D5 in it. The problem I have is just it's too many megapixels for what most people do. Now, people love to hear the megapixel number and go, oh my God, it's great to always have more. But when they actually get them, I know people who even got the D810, and for me, it's still even a bit much, and sold them because it just didn't fit into their workflow. It's a slower workflow for the most part, and it's just unnecessary. But once again, that's for me. There's a lot of portrait people out there and everything that would love these type of files. But going more into it, you're looking at, it's also going to have a newer version of SnapBridge, which SnapBridge has basically kind of been a failure for the most part, especially when it first came out with the Nikon D500. I think it came out the D5 too, but when the D500 came out, that was one of the big things, and it tanked pretty well. But it's improved over time, but there's now going to be a new version, so I'd love to see what this is going to be. The biggest complaint is also that now it doesn't have a, let me go to the pictures right here, that it won't have a built-in flash anymore, so you can't control the CLS system. So that's going to annoy a lot of people who like that. But in all honesty, I have never used my pop-up flash. I mean, I know how to use the CLS system within Nikon and everything like that, but I've never had to use that system. You just learn flash and you don't need a pop-up, but I can understand why people might, you know, give a little bit of hubbub about that. I think this looks like a D500, but maybe just a little beefier. It definitely looks like it's going to have the D750 tilt touchscreen, D500, so I think it's going to be pretty cool with something like that. It's essentially going to be a D500, D750, D810 mix, but with better autofocusing from the D5. It should have the D5 autofocusing system in it. The other thing that's going to be interesting is what card slots is it going to be. Right now, the D750 has 2 SD card slots, and people were saying, well, why didn't they have XQD and everything like that? I think that this is going to split into it, and that's what we're kind of hearing. It's going to have 1 SD card slot and 1 XQD, and right now Sony is the only one who makes an XQD card slot, so that'd be very interesting. Plus, I think that's key for 4K video, which 4K video has become more of a thing in the Nikon side of things, but you've been getting a crop on top of that. So when you have like the D5, it had a crop to it. I think it's about 1.5 times, but essentially when you had a D5 with then a crop 4K, it gets super tight. But we're hearing that this might not even have a crop in 4 full K mode, which would be absolutely amazing compared to what's on the market out there. Still, if you're relying on autofocusing, video autofocusing, you're not going to get something which Sony and Canon has done with their dual pixel AF. The other thing you kind of see from back here is the layout, the joysticks and everything like that you're getting, so that's cool to have on there. Joysticks are unique. They should be on every camera. That's where Canon missed with the 6D Mark II. The other thing that's also going to be is how fast is it going to shoot? Is it going to be like a D500? Is it going to be something better? I'd say with the megapixels, if you get 8 or 9 frames per second, you're getting lucky with that because of everything that it needs to do. So, that'll be interesting. I mentioned the 8K video for the time-lapse. I have no interest in that. I think that's a bit of a gimmick, but if people like that option, there you go. You can absolutely do that. The smart thing to do is just to upscale anyway, and it looks good, especially for YouTube. People go a little bit too crazy. When is it going to be out? It should be announced probably either towards the end of August, early September, because they need to have this out for Photo Plus in late October, so that way we can get our hands on it and see what it is. How much is it going to cost, though? Once again, none of this is official, but it's most likely going to be under $4,000. I wouldn't even stack this near the Sony A9 or anything like that, but you're going to get something for probably about $3,600, which doesn't put it too far off of what the D800 and 810 were when they first came out. The A10 still like $2,800, $3,100 anyway. So I think the D850 is going to be very interesting. I don't know what it really is for. I mean, the D810 would still have amazing value, and you're going to get it at an amazing price point. Even the D800 is a great camera, but it's definitely going to be faster. It's going to be definitely a little bit better. 4K video, if you care about that, I think that's going to be something better, especially if it's no crop. And the other thing that rumored was the OVF and EVF and the viewfinder are going to have a hybrid. That's not going to happen. I don't think Nikon's ever going to put that in their stuff. But it's cool. I have that in the Fuji X Pro 2. It's pretty dope, but once again, I pretty much use the live view screen to capture when I'm on the street, so I kind of avoid that stuff. But that's really what the D850, what we're hearing about right now. Until this officially becomes official, I'm not going to update this or anything, but I wanted to start the discussion now that we have some more information out there on this camera of what the Nikon D850 is going to be. What do you think? What is a deal breaker for you if you're a Nikon shooter? If you're a D750 user, do you think you would upgrade to a D850? Is that the logical jump from something like this? And I mean, and you're saving a couple $1,000s over getting the Nikon D5. I think the D850 is a really cool idea. I think it's a little bit overkill with the megapixels, honestly, and I think too many people just see it, and it's definitely a selling point, and consumers go crazy over it when a lot of people don't necessarily need it. But people want higher megapixels, you'll have the option. If not, you go to the lower end, D810. But the thing I will say is the D810, it's widely known as having some of the best dynamic range out there. This, if anything, should improve upon it. But we will see when we actually get things done. Be cool to see better video options in this as well. Will it have like 1080p at 120 frames per second? Will we get that full HD slow-mo? Don't 100% know yet. But I would love to see what this becomes and essentially what it is. Let me know your thoughts down below. The Nikon D850, will it have 8K video? Will it have crop in 4K? Will it be not? Tell me your thoughts down below. What's a deal breaker for this camera? What's something that you're like, I am definitely upgrading from? And what will you upgrade from? Let me know down below.